Welcome to episode 9 of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Take 2, actually. Funny story, but we won't get into that. Steve. Welcome, Steve, by the way, special guest. Steve,
Hello.
Thank you for joining last second. You and I actually talked earlier today about getting you in on like a potential interview type kind of thing, interview segment, because I know you get up early. Like you're up and at it way before anybody even starts their day. So it's kind of cool how things worked out anyways. But yeah, have Steve this week. We're going to go over some milestones for the podcast real quick. We're at 100 views, a little more than 100 views through 9 episodes. Pretty cool stuff. And now half of the teams have been represented on the podcast. So we still have a lot of season to go. My plan is to get the rest of the league, at least somebody from every team represented on this podcast in one episode, one shape, form, or another. So sit tight, guys. I'm going to get you in here. As long as you want to be on here, I'm not going to force anybody. If little Josh can do it, I think anybody can do it. Steve and I, we're going to break down fantasy power rankings. Past few weeks, I've been sharing, and then Ben, whenever he's been on, who we think are the best teams in the league. Steve is going to share his opinions, and then we're going to transition to the worst teams in the league. Right now, Steve, sorry, it's pretty obvious it's you and I, which I think is also going to make this episode pretty great. Because after you and I break down some Week 7 matchup predictions, we're going to talk about some strategy as to what do you do when you're 0-6? What do you do when you're 1-5 at this time of the year? Do you start to pivot and start planning for next year? Do you say, screw it, I'm all in, I'm going to try to find a way to sneak into the playoffs yet? So we'll break that down. We'll kind of pick each other's brain as to what we're going to do. And then I'm going to ask Steve, just like I've been asking anybody that's been joining the podcast, what's the biggest change you want to see at League Reset? Right now, a lot of the best teams in the league this year, it's looking like, let's just say there's a good, if things go the way that they're going right now, past champions that have won since we've started the Keeper League, most of them, if not all of them, are going to make the playoffs. There will be 1 or 2 teams that half the league is going to be rooting for, so we don't have League Reset. So I'm going to ask Steve what's the biggest change he wants to see whenever we have a League Reset, and then we're going to wrap up with Steve's Super Bowl predictions. So, Steve, welcome. Thank you again for being a part of the podcast tonight. So, I want to start with, we all know the answer. We know the answer, but we got to hear it from your mouth, buddy. How you feeling about your team?
Confused. I'd say confused. Yep.
I feel for you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, if this is the right part of the podcast to get into it, but I've never had a rash of the worst possible decision I could make. Players getting injured and just players underperforming. I've never had the trifecta. So, and then just this year's weird. And I'm not blaming. I said I had a stat earlier. I'm not blaming this stat for my issues because it's everybody's issue. But it's something like either touchdowns or just like total fantasy output is the worst it's been in the last 23 years. So since 2000.
Has it been that bad?
Yeah. And I was talking to Ben earlier this week, and I was like, this year just seems super weird. It feels like you have to have like the elite few to really be able to do anything.
It is a little bit different. I can't remember if we actually talked about it on an episode or if it was in preparation or after we finished recording, because we tend to talk after and before. But I think it was Cameron that kind of mentioned something about that. And yeah, I mean, we're like last year, past few years, average scores would be over 100. And it was odd whenever somebody didn't get 100. But this year, I mean, you get 110, you got a
Right.
good chance of winning unless somebody really balls. Like if I score 100 and lose, well, so
Mm-hmm.
be it. My team showed up. But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe that was the actual stat. It was there's just been the greatest amount of unders as far as betting. Like,
yeah,
and the one of the podcasts I listen to, they go through the odds of each game, and they're like, the over under is 42, the over under is 46, and there's just been so many low 40s. And if anybody doesn't know, low 40s is like it just seems like either it's 40 or 50 plus, and there's been
yeah.
very few 50 plus over unders this year.
You know, maybe we need to implement that crazy kicker rule league. Was that you that shared that in Discord?
Yeah, it was
Dude,
like
I saw
half a
that, and
point for every yard or some shit.
I shared that with
But
Millie's
like
dad, and he
miss
laughed. That was
PATs,
ridiculous.
yeah, like I mean there is a bunch of strategy to kickers. So.
Yeah. All right. Uh, Steve, I want to start with you on this next part. So, every past few weeks, we've been sharing who we think are the top 3 teams, and in no particular order.
Okay.
Who do you think has the best teams in the league today? I'll go ahead and share my screen, so that way those watching from home can also see what we are talking about. But in your,
Okay.
we'll call it professional opinion, top 3 teams in the league today. Who do you got?
Cameron, as always, is I don't. I have yet to figure out how he does it. He's always up there.
So
Um,
to an extent, he's small slump past few years though. But before that, it was every other year he was winning. I think he won 3 times in a row like that. Like every other year he won.
right. And I don't, it's silly, but you got the like the team ratings. I mean, he's the only one with a diamond rating, which that doesn't include just this league. It includes other leagues. But
Did I lose my diamond?
I'm
Because
pretty
I had one
sure.
last week.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Yeah. Nope.
Oh, I guess I lost.
Platinum. You loser. I was gold when this season started, so I yeah, I don't know.
If it makes you feel any better, Andrew is a bronze.
So am I. So Cameron, um, sorry, I'm just like
No, you're good.
sitting here looking at Mike's team. Mike's just got Tyreek Hill, and that guy's on pace for like 2,400 yards.
I know.
Like that has to come back down. You would think. Maybe he'll be the first guy with 2,500 yards, which is just silly to
It's
think
silly to
about.
think of. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Um. So Cameron, as much as it pains me to say, maybe Orscheln, and that's just like there just seems to be a lot of there's a lot of teams that their starting lineups are pretty good. Like
Yep.
I can't lie, but then their benches are just nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I'm in last place. I don't know what I can't say anything. Um, but I like Cameron. I like AJ's team. Um, maybe Ryan and Mark.
So
Yeah,
you give me
Ryan
like
and
4 or 5
Mark.
teams. So who's your top three in no order?
Ben, Orslin, Ryan, and Mark.
You're bumping Cameron out. Cameron's not in top three.
Not Ben. Not Ben. No. Sorry, Cameron, Orslin, Ryan, and Mark.
Gotcha. So only one. I only agree with you on one, and that's Cameron's team. And that all rides with Christian McCaffrey. If he goes out, no, it's Cameron will be a middle of the pack team. But I'm gonna go with Cameron. Gonna put AJ. I don't think I had AJ in there last week. I think I had Mike in his place, and then Ben. So Ben's team, I think Ben's had some bad luck against some defenses, scoring a lot of points against him. I think Ben has a great team. He's patient with Alvin Kamara and got him after suspension. And he has a very good running back there. Pacheco, I think he hit gold. He's probably one of my favorite running
For
backs to
sure.
watch. So,
well, he looks like he's trying to stomp through a dimension every time he runs, and
that's
I
a good
love
way to
it.
put it.
Like,
I'm always afraid he's going to get hurt because he runs too hard.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that, but he pops up every time. He can get laid out and he pops right back up. Ben's team, Keenan Allen has been his saving grace, I think.
Keenan Allen's been a surprise.
That guy's been insane.
Yeah,
I mean, his weeks 11, 27, 41, 10, 18. Like,
Herbert's been playing like an MVP quarterback. He had like one bad week, I think, all year. So
well, it helps.
Yeah, but I'm
it
surprised.
also helps when
Keenan Allen, I thought
Mike Williams is gone.
Mike, yeah. Well, even before Mike Williams was gone, he was lighting it off. And then Mike Evans is another big surprise. So I don't know. He got a little bit of luck. I mean, it was one of those you do draft and you look at some players, you're like, but that coin flipped the right side for him, and your team it flipped the wrong side, for example. Mm-hmm. It's just nature of the beast. So to transition, projected last place. Steve, I'm still going to project you last place team. So who do you think is going to get last place? And you can say me, it's fine. People are probably rooting for me to get last place just so I do a video. Yet they don't realize I still do some sort of presentation no matter what anyways.
If I had to pick, I think it's either going to be you or I guess myself. I want to say Tyler or Taylor, but I just think he can make some trades, and that's the thing. If you're 0, because I've been 0-5 to begin the year before, and just made an acquisition here, acquisition there, trade here, the trade there, and like barely missed the playoffs.
Yeah, you can get back in the fight a little bit.
Like 0-6. I mean, I need this, that, everything, God and anime on my side to make the playoffs. Like, it's never gonna happen. So, honestly, it pains me to say, because I'm gonna fight like I have a chance to get into the playoffs. But I'm I'm gonna fight every week, like I'm gonna make the playoffs, but I'm trying to set myself up for the last playoffs, like the bottom 6. Because all I got to do is win one game. I could go and however many weeks we have, 14 now.
Mm-hmm.
I could go 0-14, win one game, and not get last.
Yep.
Is it wonky how that works? Sure. Some would say yeah, but
I think they get over it. I think it's
the nature of the beast.
Just whenever you do this, you don't want to be the bottom 4, because if you're in the bottom 4, you're in the fight for last place. And then, who was it? I can't remember. It was a few years back. I think I told Orson his team was doing bad. I'm like, you just need to own that your team sucks and just start bashing everybody. Be like, yeah, my team sucks now, but it's going to be worse whenever you lose to me in the playoffs.
I mean, somebody's going to feel real bad when they lose to my team.
But no, it's just, you just kind of hope, like, maybe I could get 8th place. Maybe I could just avoid that chance of even getting last.
Yeah, I mean,
so, but we'll get more into all that here in a bit. So we're gonna start with some matchup breakdowns, and we're gonna start with my team first. We're gonna do this. Steve, I'm gonna let you have the floor. I'm gonna let you roast my team. You already acted like Ryan and Mark's team were one of the better teams in the league. So I think I could guess where you're going to predict this game to go. But the floor is yours.
I mean, I really don't know. I think was it him that always had Derrick Henry? I think Derrick Henry's washed
they tend to have Derrick Henry a lot.
Like, yeah, I think he's washed.
Derrick Henry's on a bye, I think, this week anyways.
And he's on a bye. But I think, are you planning on, well, I guess you don't have really a lot of options. Maybe Mason to play over Joshua Kelly. But
I don't want to play Kelly.
Do you plan on playing Kelly?
I'm only if McCaffrey's not going to play. But then again, I still might play Mason because they might put McCaffrey on the snap count because they are playing Minnesota.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they could get up 21-0 and sit McCaffrey. So, I think he's gonna win. Because Philly's pass defense isn't very good, right?
It's fine. It's not as good as it needs to be. The run defense is good. Right. Eagles they got some injuries going on too. I could see that game against Miami being a shootout, and especially with Tyreek Hill, I'm not looking forward to it.
Right.
I could see Tua getting 25, north of 25 points.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I think you kind of got not the bad end of the stick, but Mahomes, the Chiefs offense they haven't figured it out yet. They've been running the ball a lot more effectively than in the past. I think Kirk, it depends on who gets Lattimore. I think Kirk can have a good game. Cooper, I don't think they'll need him. Taylor going against Cleveland, it's hard defense. Josh Kelly's a backup. Hawkinson, San Fran's defense is really good. Puka, I don't know. What'd Puka do last week?
He finally had a bad game, but that was kind of expected. You're going to have Cup back. Puka's going to be more of he's going to be a top end wide receiver too.
Right. I think it's going to be close. I don't think either of you get over 100, even though you're projected for 99 and 99.7. But who
So
knows? I'm on
I
6. I
agree.
don't know anything.
I would agree with that assessment. I don't think either one of us will score over 100. I think there's a lot more going for Ryan and Mark's team. My matchups are not pretty. Now,
No.
Chiefs and Chargers, I'm excited for that, but Mahomes could just light it up, but Kelsey could be the one benefiting.
Yeah, I mean
And if
that's
that's
been
the
the case
case,
all year long.
yeah. So
So
that might not go in my favor. Christian Kirk, he's a potential home run hitter. He'd have one of those games where he has 10 receptions, 80, 90 yards, and I have a great in one touchdown. That's a great game. So he's an inconsistent home run hitter. Cooper, he's given me those points. I mean, he's not nothing flashy. He's gotten close to 120 a couple times.
really,
Taylor, I almost think this will do him good going against Cleveland. I mean, Anthony Richardson, he's out for the year now. I think he's going to undergo that season surgery. I think I saw that today. I think Taylor is the better running back, and this is his chance to show it against a tough Cleveland defense.
Yeah.
So, because right now they're splitting carries, which I mean I would. They're both playing well, so why wear down a running back you just paid a lot of money to? So, played smart. Don't even want to talk about Kelly. That's I hope things get even worse for your team. Type kind of pickup. Hawkinson. This has to be one of my more frustrating ones. I thought this was a banger of a keeper, but
well,
the Vikings are.
You
Well, I
kept him
kept it.
late, didn't you?
It was like 6th round. I kept him. Rob and I did. He's just not performing what I thought he would. He's had a couple big games, but man, Vikings they've in a wide open division. But I think it's for the Lions to take. Puka.
Wide open
Puka
be
will
bad,
do.
maybe.
Yeah. Well, you got the
I think
Lions.
the Lions walk away with that division,
Yeah.
but anyway.
But yeah, I think if I win, it's because San Fran scores me 25 points on defense. But I give the edge to Ryan and Mark. Neither one of us scores over 100.
Kirk Cousins in prime time. I mean,
this is true.
chalk him up for 30. So.
All right. Here's a good matchup. We got Andrew versus AJ. Man, so the biggest thing going against Andrew's team. So he's also a product of getting lucky. Trevor Lawrence, that still baffles me. I guess that was one of the things that he finally had a great keeper. Now, I just value quarterback side, but I was not expecting Trevor Lawrence to have the type of performance he's been having this year, which has been disappointing. I was going to say, if Trevor Lawrence was performing what I thought he could do, Andrew might have the best team. Or I could argue he's one of the top teams. Swift that's a surprise.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody
Eagles
pounced
running
on
back
him for rounds and rounds and rounds.
I think Andrew took him in the 5th or 6th.
Yeah. Which in our league translates to probably the 7th because of all the keepers.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then AJ, he's kind of in the same boat with quarterback too. I mean, Justin Fields, well, he's hurt now, but that's a who knows what you're going to get type kind of thing. I think Andrew wins this week. I think he does score north of 100. I think Love, because I think Aaron Jones is back this week. I think that'll help Jordan Love perform a little bit better, having a more solid running game. But he'll win, not by much. He'll barely break 100, and AJ will be shy.
He's got really nice matchups. So, I mean, that helps. I don't really expect a lot from Geno. I don't expect a lot from Geno. I expect a lot from Fields. I expect a lot from Love. I expect a lot from Aaron Jones. 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 I expect a DJ Moore is another one of my worst decisions to trade him for a bag of potato chips. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a stud. Brian Robinson.
He's fun to watch.
Brian Robinson's fallen off, I think. Middling, average guy. Good for being somebody that's been shot before. Barkley, I mean, still coming back from injury. Goddard. It's a roulette between A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Goddard.
Yeah,
Zay Flowers could pop off. I mean, I'm going with you. I think Orson wins because I think he gets more. I think he hits his over on projected points on players more than AJ does.
Yeah, I think with Fields being out too, I think that hurts more. Goddard, that's a streaky player, but playing against Miami, that might turn into a shootout. But if that turns into a shootout, you better believe Devontae Smith is going to have a lot of points. So he's due for a big game too.
Yeah.
All right. Mickey B and Little Josh. You could start with this one, Steve.
Mickey B and Little Josh. Okay. Stafford's coming on. His wide receivers are elite. His running backs, Mike's running backs are sorry.
I think he has the worst ones in the league.
Yeah, which I look at my running backs and their potential and I just shake my head because I'm like, just underperformance after underperformance after underperformance. Sam Laporta is, if he keeps going, one of the best picks in the draft because I think he got him last round. This year's rookie tight ends are making a laughingstock of the rule that rookie tight ends don't do anything.
I blame Kyle Pitts for that. Jeez.
Well, I mean, it's just a thing. Rookie tight ends for some reason, because I think that safeties are faster and linebackers are definitely faster than they were in college, and it's just without it, it doesn't seem like it would be a big learning curve, but it is. Yeah, Mike's. You got even on his bench on a bye, Dameon Pierce, Rashad White, and Alexander Madison. The three, you can't. I don't think you can find three worse running backs on one team that are starting. Just by looking at this, I think little Josh wins. Well, he's gonna need Mostert to have a big game. He's gonna need Hurts to have a good game without going to Brown. Bijan, gosh, who knows? Go back up to Metcalf and Pittman. Metcalf's been solid. Pittman with Gardner Minshew is better. I think Anthony Richardson will be better next year, but wasn't good for Pittman this year.
Yeah, Pittman was getting some points with Richardson. I think because of Richardson's ability to run around, he actually opened up the secondary because they were putting 8 people in the box. So let me look at this because Pittman actually started off.
Pittman had 20 points first week, and then
so he had 20.
Yeah,
sorry, He's had
Yeah, I
some
mean,
weeks, and last week,
yeah, he's streaky. Like he's one of those guys that hasn't lived up to what people thought so far,
yeah, I think that's a product of the quarterback situation, though.
for sure. I mean, you can't do nothing with Philip Rivers and Matt Ryan and sorry Gardner, but Gardner Minshew.
Minshew mania.
Um, I think Musgrave is. I mean, he's a tight end one. I think this week at least. Uh, Javante will get it going sooner or later. He looked good last week. He had 10 for 52. That was just a product of them having to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think Josh wins, but it's going to be a close game. And I think both teams go over 100, but not by much.
So I'm gonna say Josh. I almost want to pick Mike because I think Stafford, Hill, and Brown, just those three players are going to get Mike north of 60 points.
Right.
That
Oh, yeah.
I could be surprised, but I think that Eagles Philly game is going to turn into a shootout. I think that's going to hurt Josh to an extent. I mean, Hurts will get you points, but Brown will have a big game. Mostert
Yeah.
against the Eagles run game, it's just going to turn into a shootout. You're going to have to hope he breaks a big one out or catches one and runs it down, which I could see that happening.
Yep.
It'll be close, Mike. If you just had one top end running back on your team, I would hate to play your team. You have the nastiest, dirtiest wide receiver combo in the league.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, you probably can't find a better combo. So.
Nope. So, I'm gonna give it to Josh. They will both score north of 100 points.
Well, like you said, those top three, they could easily get 60, if not 80.
Yeah.
But Madison and White ain't gonna do nothing.
No.
I don't think
You'll be lucky
Lockett.
to get these points.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What has Madison been doing? I'm curious. So he's been consistent. He's not a home run hitter by any means.
Now, 9.2 against Chicago is not a good indicator.
And then this has been, but look at these defenses too, which is fair. Yeah. So, all right. Well, both got Josh.
Yep.
All right. Drew and Taylor. Oh, man.
Battle of the Giants.
We're going to have to look at the bench here. We got 2 buys on Drew's team, 2 buys on Taylor's team. Ugh.
Well, I mean, Drew could
Taylor
easily
not using an IR spot. He has 3 players that... Taylor, use your IR spot, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I don't see why. I mean, other than keeping Richardson, not to get away from the matchup, but not other than keeping Richardson, he's out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to keep him, you gotta keep him on your bench or.
I mean, you might as well throw him on your IR. It's not like you're going to take him off of him.
Right. And, you can get rid of Burks pretty easily, but with the matchup, Drew could easily put Jerome Ford in for Pollard and get another 11 points, which I think he's going to hit that.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah.
Like, he's been steady ever since Chubb went down. Nothing spectacular, but steady.
Looking at this has to be possibly the best week that Drew could have buys.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. And this is, I mean, truthfully, that's why I was tossing around Taylor's team for worst, because his quarterback's good. Garrett Wilson, yeah, that sucks. It sucks because Rodgers is out.
Yeah.
Like, he was gonna be really good this year, and Zach Wilson can't do it like Rodgers could have.
Yeah.
Jerry Judy's
Yeah.
nothing. Hall's on by. Kenneth Walker, like, I was not expecting,
I don't think anybody was. Kenneth Walker's been something special this year.
but he's just been doing it on touchdowns though. So like if you look at week 2,
Oh yeah.
set 18 points, but he had 2 touchdowns. Like, you take away his touchdowns, he's looking like Joe Mixon. I know what Joe Mixon looks like.
Sounds like you're in the acceptance phase of your team. Are you still in denial?
I'm not in denial. I'm just super confused still.
I get you.
Johnny Smith, I don't understand why they'll throw him the ball and not Kyle Pitts.
I don't know.
Kittle is
He's streaky.
really good. He's really good, but he's good for like 3 games a year, and he's already used up one of them. So I think it's an every 5-week kind of deal. So, I mean, it sucks for Taylor because Jeff's like, you draft your number 1 overall, not number 1 overall, but first round guy to be the rock on your team, and when it gets hurt, sometimes it just throws your whole team into disarray.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying something about home run hitters, and like, just like my team, I looked back, I think I've had one person go over 30 points in my starting lineup, and then only one person do it on my bench. Like, I don't know. You got to have your home run hitters, like Mike with Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown.
Oh, they give you a chance any given week if you have those. So
this matchup, I think Drew comes out with it, just because I don't think I don't know if Taylor can put a team together that's gonna have a chance this particular week.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give the edge to Drew, not by much. I think San Fran is gonna rebound against Minnesota, and I think Purdy Kittle both have a good game. I think if those two struggle, Drew will lose. I think it's gonna come down to that game. Diggs, I think he'll pop off. Yeah, he'll put Ford in his lineup, but I mean, McKinnon, you're hoping to get a touchdown. That's a touchdown dependent, but he could pop off for a few touchdowns. Against the Chargers, I don't know I mean, that's a divisional game. Yeah. He might get you 2 points, or he might get you 15 because of touchdowns. Hopefully it's passes to McKinnon and not Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
Miami defense, Drew, I encourage you not to do it. That's going to be a shootout, buddy. But then again, Hurts had a bad game. I don't know if I've
ever seen a team defense projected for 3.5.
So, but I don't know if he wants to drop Miami's defense either, because he has Dallas on a bye. But it's not like he doesn't have other players that he could drop. He could probably drop Gainwell, or Prescott. But yeah, I'm gonna give the edge to Drew, not by much. I don't think either one of you guys break 90. No, I'm gonna say 80. Neither one of you is gonna break 80. Low scoring game. These were the two teams that Ben and I predicted were going to be the worst teams in the league.
I mean, usually when Yahoo comes out with their draft grades, usually it's the inverse, and they were pretty highly rated. Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe we're getting dumber.
There's still
Steve.
a chance.
That's why we're at the bottom. All right. Your match. You are playing Cameron.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Cameron. So I have never seen so many quarterbacks rostered. I've never seen it. Just like I know AJ, I know Fields is hurt, but he's got 3 quarterbacks on his team.
Who's he have? He has Fields.
He has Fields. He has gosh dang it, where are you at?
He has
He has
Geno.
Fields. He has Geno and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play Kirk Cousins this week either. But I counted it earlier, and I can just easily go to players, position, quarterback, Russell Wilson, Desmond Ridder, Josh Dobbs, Derek Carr, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett are my really only options. Because other people have buys, and I don't want to play Mayfield, and I just haven't gotten to that point where I've decided what I want to do as far as quarterbacks, but I don't think it matters. I think Lamar Jackson's gonna have to run the ball because I don't think any Ravens running back can against Detroit.
No, I mean
their run defense is legit.
I think it's the best in the league.
Yeah. The only reason I would keep Mayfield is for that Godwin stack, but I didn't do anything for him last week.
Maybe they're due. It's a divisional game.
Well, Mike Evans had a few drops last week that really would have helped Baker Mayfield, but Devontae Adams, hopefully they just don't even need him, but he could just get a couple catches, a touchdown, and
so they might
hit his 13.
They're struggling with quarterback there too, so I don't know.
Yeah, but backup quarterbacks, who do you go to? You go to tight end, you go to like one of the most sure wide receivers in the league. I don't think Addison is going to do anything, just because I think Kirk is going to be smothered in gravy, as Mitch would say.
Smothered in gravy.
I mean, I'm going Josh Hoslov style, just like player for player. Olave beats Addison. Eckler beats Gibbs. Who knows with Zach Evans and Stevenson. Andrews beats Waller. I'm pretty sure McCaffrey beats Marquise
I think that's
Brown.
a safe bet.
It helps when you have 2 players projected over 20, but for him to not have a kicker and still be projected basically 100 points is just maddening. And I don't, like I said earlier, I don't know how he does it. I've yet to figure it out.
Well, I think the biggest thing, if Cameron did not have Christian McCaffrey, I'd be curious to see what his record is. He would be middle of the pack team. Christian McCaffrey, like you said earlier this year, unless you have one of those big home run hitters, this has been some of the lowest scoring uh, leagues or lowest scoring years. I think the only reason why
Right.
Taylor's doing as good as what he's doing record wise and point wise is because that same fact he has Jefferson. He has one of those massive home run hitters. Cameron has the best
Right.
one. And I have a feeling if McCaffrey doesn't play this week, I don't know. There's a lot of people on Cameron's team that are questionable. Don't get me wrong, I think you're going to lose. But sorry. Um, it's his team. It lives and dies with McCaffrey. If McCaffrey's on there, he has the best team in the league. McCaffrey's not on there
Right.
or hurt because McCaffrey's always good for missing a couple games. Cameron's team's a middle of the pack team, but it's just because of what McCaffrey can deliver. Lamar Jackson, he's also streaky.
Right.
So looking at this, unless you have a mean wombo combo with Mayfield and Godwin, and you got to get lucky, you don't have a shot. And I think you said it, like Olave and Eckler, those are your best. Like you win those matchups with what he currently has. But yeah,
Right.
I think that's all you got. And your defense, I'll give you the defense.
Oh, he texted me earlier this morning and was like, $1. You spent $1 more than me because he bid $13 for Cleveland's defense, and I got him with 14. And I was thinking yesterday, I was like, I had him at 11 until about 7 o'clock last night, and I was like, I'm gonna overspend just so I can have a defense that I can just plug in. They've already had their bye. I can just plug in and forget about them because there's just ain't been a whole lot. I haven't had a defense like that for a while, like years. And I don't care if I overspend. And it's just vindicating when you make a big bid and it works out. And then I, made up for that by overspending by like $20 on Zach Evans. But it came out this morning that Kyron Williams is going to be out till week 11. So
who knows?
Maybe it works out. I don't know because Ronnie Rivers is hurt too. But yeah, Cameron's going to win, and I'll be 0-7. So,
all right, Ben.
I would feel a lot better if I still had David Montgomery, but
yeah,
I don't think he's going to play this week. So,
Ben and Clark. So I'm going to give this edge to Ben. Clark has one of those teams where he's just finding ways to win. There's not a whole lot that I could add to that. I think I'll just looking across the board. Ben has quarterback. He has wide receivers. He has running backs on you. The only thing that Clark might have is tight end, but Kyle Pitts is streaky. Wombo combo with Allen and Knox. I mean, yeah. The flex, Mike Evans, he could pop off. Kicker, that's a coin flip.
Yeah.
And then defense, I'm gonna. Clark might have that, but I don't. It's not like I'm high on Tampa Bay defense. It's really more that I don't know what kind of Jacksonville team New Orleans is going to run into.
Right.
And Clark is projected 87 with a full roster too.
I think Najee Harris is like, if he was on my team, he'd be damn near close to being dropped. Like, he doesn't do anything with the touches that he gets. Like, for somehow, never mind, I was looking at the projected. He has gone over 7 points once and hit you with a less than 5 3 times. Like, I tried to get Jalen Warren from Cameron and in my Godwin Stevenson trade, and he just wasn't. I mean, that would have been a lot for Stevenson, but I like Warren because I don't think the Steelers like Harris. Pitts, again, I don't know why, and he's had 2 good weeks the last 2 weeks. One of them was a touchdown week, but I don't know why they are throwing the ball to Jonnu Smith and not him. Like, if I saw Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith on the field at one time, like, okay, who am I going to throw the ball to? Oh, this athletic freak.
I don't know, man. Like, I'd want to see like how good Kyle Pitts did if he was on let's say Travis Kelce retires. Chiefs should go get him, or if Eagles are done with Goddard, go get him. Like, it's, I don't know.
And it could be. I was gonna say it could be the O.J. Howard dilemma, where he was highly drafted, everybody thought he was going to be really good, and then just nothing.
That could be too.
But I think Pitts is in a terrible system for him because Arthur Smith and the Falcons just want to run the ball. Like, I would rather have Pitts than Dawson Knox. But
there's more upside with Knox.
I think Jacoby Myers being projected 9 points is criminal because I think he was hurt week 2, but 25, 0, 12, 4, 17, 14.
Yeah, he's the true number one.
He's had a lot of touchdowns, but
so, all right, we both got Ben there.
Yeah, Ben. So, I don't know how Clark is 4-2.
So I'm 1-5. I have more points than him, not by much. It's just he's just won weeks that he's needed to win. Sometimes that's how it plays out.
Yeah, and you're always gonna have teams like that. But good for him. I'd take it.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't be mad about it.
I wouldn't be mad about it either. And I'm not saying that because I think I have a good team, because I don't. So,
right.
All right, we're going to transition to this last part of this. Okay. Steve. Knowing that there's a good chance, or I'm going to say decent chance, I want to be careful here, that we might have league reset. What is something that you'd like to see changed?
What I would like to see changed. You know, you told me that we were going to talk about it, or you were going to ask me about it because you've asked everybody else.
No, you might have misheard me because I told you I was going to ask you. Because I've already asked everybody else. I want to get everybody's opinion.
Well, I know, that's why I said.
Oh, sorry. I just misheard you there again, too.
Did I not say
Sorry.
that?
I thought you said the other thing.
No, you did. I might have. One thing. I don't know. You know, like, people are clamoring for no kickers.
Or do you like everything just the way that it is?
I don't dislike anything enough to change it. I don't think.
Okay.
I would say maybe add points for, like, big plays, but then that might even be less strategy than kickers.
Okay.
And defense. Because Alexander Madison can pop off a 40-yard run. Anybody can do it at any time. It doesn't take any skill. Well, it takes that I think is more luck than kickers.
Okay.
you could argue, well, I drafted Tyreek Hill 3rd overall because I know he's going to get a bunch of big plays. Sure, but he's also still really good. I wish I knew more about like IDP stuff, because if I did, maybe I would be more inclined to say an IDP instead of a team defense.
Okay.
Because that would I think further our knowledge of the league, because you can't just rely on these like big offensive players like you would have to.
Yeah, you'd have. I mean, that would shake up quite a bit if we did something like that, and I think it's definitely a topic worth discussing, because that's like the one thing we have not dove into yet. I think a lot of people, they get scared going into that. So,
well, I mean, it's a daunting thing because I don't know how that stuff is scored. I know everybody knows the big defensive players, but are sacks worth more than interceptions? Are like, it would just be, it would be a big change. I would be much more inclined to do that rather than add like another flex spot or a tight end wide receiver spot, just because, gosh, like waivers are already just decimated.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I know Andrew mentioned something like, well, we can remove kickers and add another flex spot, and I'm like, I could get behind getting rid of kickers, but adding a flex spot, that's more players off of waivers, and we're already. So I'm like, if we had a 10-man league, then sure, I think I'd be okay with that. But 12-man league, that's, I think we just you cripple teams too much for, if you have injuries, you don't have any shot.
Well, not to say that we're the best league there ever was, but with this league, it just seems like all these pundits and people talking about like players to go get that are 45% rostered. They're rostered in our league.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. They're not there. So I almost look at our league like it's a 14-team league, because it takes an injury for us to have any waivers to get excited about, almost, except for especially running backs, and still even wide receivers. And tight end is such a barren landscape of players that you're almost scared to add somebody.
I agree.
Because they could have 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, and then next week get you a catch for 7 yards.
So,
but if I was going to change anything, it would be IDP.
Okay.
I would add it.
Okay. We'll definitely have that be a topic of discussion whenever league reset happens. Hopefully that's not after this year, but if it is, we'll be talking about that in the spring. That'd definitely be one of the. I think that'd be more drastic than removing kickers for the league, because it'd be just a significant change in how we draft and how we strategize and all that stuff. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
I like it. I don't know if I'd vote for it, but I like it. I like the idea. So, okay. Losing in fantasy. We've touched this on and off throughout this episode. So right now you're 0-6. I'm 1-5. Right now, what is your strategy? What are you trying to do? Are you already looking more towards next year and being like, okay, I got my keepers in mind. I have some options, and I'm just going to do my best to win any given week, and what will be will be? Or are you still trying to to be in the fight.
At 0-6, it's not impossible because
Definitely not impossible.
I think at 0-7 it is impossible to get into the big playoffs. But my strategy right now is, like I said earlier, just I'm still fighting like I'm 4-2, like jockeying for position, because I really cannot bring myself to just give up.
Oh no.
We've been doing this league for God knows how long. 16 years, I think. 16 or 17.
Started in 06.
And I feel like I'm almost maybe trying to set up a little bit for next year while also trying to set myself up for maybe the last 3 weeks. Like, am I trying to trade away people to have a more advantageous schedule in those later weeks while trying to still stay competitive now? Absolutely. I mean, everybody should be trying to do that. I would argue that I've been thinking about trades and being this low and having the players I have, you almost have to just like overshoot.
Yeah.
You have to overpay what you would think, because to begin with, if I would have said, some of the trades I've thought about week 2, I'd be like, why would you ever do that? But when it just gets to a point in your year that you're having to almost buy weeks.
Yeah.
You're having to buy wins.
You got to buy wins. You got to, and then your your attachment to some of your players. Like, you guys aren't winning it for me now. I'm more inclined to trade you away.
Yeah.
I know it was last night. My brother and I talked. We co-manage a couple different leagues. Our CBS league, I'll show you another day, Steve. It's insane. The team we have, it is wild. I just wish we have Trevor Lawrence in that league. That's our weakest point. Everything else is just, it dominates. We have everything else is the best. But this league is a little bit different. It's called Rob. I'm like, we don't need to talk about our CBS league. I'm like, our Yahoo league, we have maybe one more week. We could ride this out, and if we lose again, we're going to have to pivot. We'll have to make some changes and be realistic that we're not going to make the top 6. We'll be fighting for consolation, and we need to start looking at, okay, keep potential keepers for next year and hope that we don't have league reset. Now,
right.
We're also not like going to trade away our best. I mean, we're willing to trade our best players, but we're not just going to do it for nothing. I know Patrick, we talked about trading away Patrick Mahomes. I know he has not lived up to expectations, which right now makes it easy, but I know as soon as I trade him away, he's going to go back into MVP form. I know that's going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, looking to make some trades to where we can get another solid keeper, to where, because we'll keep Puka unless something crazy happens this year to where he just turns into nothing. I'll keep him for a 10th round pick.
Yeah, he's.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes being in this place, there's bad luck. You deal with injuries. Sometimes your players that you draft, you like it at draft day. Like, yeah, I like my team, and then things fall apart. Rob and I, we know that we took risks on taking Taylor. We went into the draft wanting Mahomes and Taylor in the first 2 rounds. We flipped.
Yeah.
We took Mahomes 1. We thought we were going to take Taylor 1, then Mahomes. But we were afraid Mike was going to take Mahomes, so we took Mahomes in the first round with the odds of Taylor being there. And we're like, either Taylor or Josh Jacobs will be there, and we'll be okay with either one. Jacobs is...
And it worked out for Mike.
Yeah, it did. So, but yeah, that's just name of the game. I know a lot of people are rooting for me to get
Well,
last, but
looking at the standings, there's, I think right now, uh, you know, I think there's only one spot that is up for grabs. I think it's the 6th spot. Because it's going to take an injury to either AJ Brown or Tyreek Hill for Mike to tumble.
and he'll tumble hard.
Yeah, but I mean, you're 3 games back from them. Granted, I'm only 4 games back, but it's going to take all those other teams just to be middling for the rest of the year for me to even be able to do anything. And that's with what my team, I feel like I drafted my team and I was like, looking back on it, I'm almost put too much faith in my keepers, Stevenson and Olave. It's like me, and then everyone you would ever ask was like, Olave is going to take off this year, and Stevenson is going to get all the work. He's going to take off. Well, Derek Carr gets hurt, and the Patriots' offense is awful. What are you going to do?
I know.
What are you going to do?
I was a big fan of the Olave keep. With New England, I wasn't a fan of that, but I get why you kept him in that round. I probably would have done it too.
The 11th.
Yeah, I don't think highly of him.
Starting running back in the 11th round.
That was one of those, that would have been consistent points every year.
He was being mocked in the 3rd.
No, I 100% get why you kept him. I would have kept him too. I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have kept him.
Right.
So, but
T. Higgins has been a major disappointment. Joe Mixon's been a major disappointment.
It's Cincinnati playing the way that they are, that's a surprise. So I think if they were playing like a top tier team, your fortunes on your team would be different. So it's bad luck.
Well, and then if I wouldn't have made the 2 worst decisions, I would almost argue anybody's made this year with trying. I thought Sky Moore was going to be.
Yeah, I did too.
Something a lot more than what he is.
I thought so too.
And I did not expect Mostert to do what he's done, obviously. I thought, well, I got a starting running back early or real late. Maybe he'll pop off and then I can trade him. I should have waited. And then DJ Moore. I mean, the 2 weeks that he went off would have helped me a lot, but what are you gonna do? So
all right. Steve, I want to wrap up with one more thing, unless there's anything else you want to say. So, nope. Real quick, who you got winning the Super Bowl? Or I tell you what was your Super Bowl prediction before the year started?
Super Bowl prediction, I would have gone with the rematch of last year.
With Chiefs winning?
Yeah.
Okay, and then where are you at now?
I think, well, I mean, '49ers.
They're the best team in the league.
I mean, their defense is too good. Hands down, it's going to be the Eagles and 49ers in the NFC Championship game. It'll be the Chiefs, and you could say the Dolphins. And I just saw something today that said, I think the Chiefs' strength of schedule record was like 16-28 or something. Like, it was below 500, but the Dolphins was like 9-3 whatever else it was. Like, and the only team that has a winning record that they've played mopped them 48-20. And that was the Bills. I think the 49ers are going to get healthy, and they're just too good. Like, they got solid defense, and Christian McCaffrey can make up a lot for, because I don't think Purdy's anything special.
I don't either.
But they just have too much. And that's the easiest way to win a Super Bowl is a cheap quarterback and paying everybody else.
So do you have San Fran winning? San Fran currently winning against the Chiefs? Okay.
Yep.
So
the Chiefs don't have the wide receivers to compete.
They don't, but I could argue
Kelsey
they didn't really have it last year either.
Can't do it all.
I don't know. Mahomes, most talented quarterback to ever play the game. I will never count him out. I still got him going to the Super Bowl. My prediction was Eagles and Chiefs, but Eagles winning. I'm sticking by that. I think it's still a valid argument. But the road, if Eagles have home field advantage in the playoffs, they get 1 seed, they will go. If it's San Fran, they will go. I think whoever plays home field between those two, that's who's going to go. Because you don't want to play at the Link. I definitely don't want to play in San Fran.
Santa doesn't even want to go to the Link.
No, he doesn't.
I don't. Like I said, I think that those two NFC teams are definitely the best in the NFC. I don't think that as a team, the Dolphins can stand up to the Chiefs. Because their defense is, I think, exploitable.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs' defense has just been playing out of its mind. And granted, they haven't played offensive juggernauts by any means, but they just have an easier road to the Super Bowl than either of the NFC teams. So.
Well, all right. Well, Steve, thanks again for jumping on tonight. I know it took time out of your evening and your sleep schedule to be on here, so thank you. And as always, if you enjoy what you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.